with our invocation. Jerry Kane, if you'd like to come forward.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a moment of personal privilege to present the cover page of the newspaper to Joanne
Could you speak
Lawson.
a little more into the microphone, please?
I'm just asking for a personal privilege to give the cover page of the newspaper to Joanne.
Very well.
You need headlines again, huh?
Well, the deal is she's not on the comic section, so that's the compliment. May we pray. We humbly come into your presence, dear God, with grateful hearts, knowing that we're flawed, but we're the most cherished and loved element in all of your handiwork. On this evening, at the beginning of a new school year, the church and state join with our educators in prayer for all the leaders of Clay County. We pray for stamina. Our Clay County educators, legislatures, and ministers have a calling which draws them to the courthouse, the schoolhouse, and the church house. And this calling requires a very high level of commitment, patience, and caring over long hours for modest pay. Give them the wisdom to know and the courage to act when it's time to step back without turning loose, and when it's time to step up without holding on. But listening, God, we not only pray for our Clay County educators, legislatures, and ministers professionally, but tonight we pray for them personally, beyond their professions. Each one is a person first, a unique creation of God. And so we pray for John and Jay and Joanne and Jason and Jerry and Megan and Scott as individuals rather than just as Clay County commissioners. May they find deep joy and personal satisfaction at home and at work as they fulfill their calling in their service to your Clay County children. They promised that our prayers would make a difference, O God. And so tonight, we claim that promise from you. May our discussions, decisions, and deportment cover all our bases as worshipers, educators, and legislators. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. By the way, those who are joining us, we do have some seating in the back area there. So if you can't find a seat up here, there should be some seating back there to accommodate you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte? Here. Commissioner Withington? Here. Commissioner Lawson? Here. Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Of this evening is approval of this evening's agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington? Motion passes 5-0.
Ceremonial matters. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, this evening we have the 2020 ceremonial 2025-254 honorary resolution recognizing Labor Day for 2025, and Commissioner Whittington would take it from there.
Commissioner.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's an honor to stand with labor leaders from across Clay County, Kansas City, and the Northland tonight as we recognize a cornerstone of our nation's values, Labor Day. On behalf of the Clay County Board of Commissioners, I proudly present this proclamation affirming our unwavering support for the workers who power our community and the essential role of organized labor in building stronger, fairer, and more prosperous Clay County. This document isn't just paper. It's a tribute to the generations of workers whose skills and solidarity have built our hospitals from Liberty in North Kansas City, our schools in Kearney and Smithville, our neighborhoods from Gladstone to Excelsior Springs, and the UAW Local 249 built trucks and vans rolling off the line at the Ford Kansas City Assembly Plant, the economic engine of Claycomo. It honors the carpenters, pipe fitters, teachers, nurses, electricians, plumbers, public safety workers, and every tradesperson lifting steel and wiring homes under the banner of the Greater Kansas City Building Trades. The Greater Kansas City AFL-CIO, the Greater Kansas City Building and Construction Trades Council, and our local unions stand at the heart of this effort. For decades, they've been a collective voice fighting for safe sites, fair wages, dignity on the job, and the fundamental right to organize here in Clay County. They've built pathways to prosperity through apprenticeships, alongside critical career tech pipelines like the Northland Career Center, advocating for policies that lift families, and standing firm for workplace justice. It's not just also about contracts, it's about sustaining a middle class that defines our Northland character. Labor Day is more than just a long weekend. It's a day to honor the sacrifices that won the 8-hour workday, ended child labor, secured safety standards we now rely on. These victories weren't gifts. They were earned through the unity of organizations like those that will be here tonight. While we celebrate progress, the work continues. The fight for a living wage, secure retirements, safe industrial sites, and protecting collective bargaining rights remain urgent, and Clay County stands with you in this fight. Tonight, as we present this proclamation to the Greater Kansas City AFL-CIO and its affiliates, the Greater Kansas City Building Trades Council, IBEW, UAW, the Mid-America Regional Carpenters Council, the Northland Career Center, and every Clay County worker, let us share with them that we honor the dignity of all work from assembly lines to construction sites, that we will work to protect the rights of every workers in factories, schools, and communities, to invest in our workforce through union apprenticeship institutions like the Northland Career Center and prepare Northland youth for high-skilled careers, and to build a Clay County where prosperity is shared by all who create it. So thank you for everybody who came tonight, and thank you for strengthening the foundation of our community. I hereby present this proclamation for Labor Day, and we have several organizations here tonight as well.
Before that, we want to go ahead and acknowledge any other commissioners who would like to speak. Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you, and hello to many of my friends who are out there who have come this evening. I appreciate Commissioner Withington bringing this forward. I agree with everything he said, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because I lived that with my family. My father was a 29-year union iron worker, about 27 of those years as a member of Iron Workers Local 10. My wife served on LESID as part of the laborers organization, and even though she is no longer there, she is still a card-carrying member of Laborers Local 264. Union work has put food on our table since I was a kid, and I appreciate, and many times over the years have had to fight for their perspective and for their issues. And so not everyone in Missouri shares that, and I won't go through all that, but I will simply say that it is good to take an opportunity to thank those who, going all the way 150 years ago with the Pullman strikes, have fought for workers throughout this country, even though today some may not recognize what they have done for them. But thank you all for being here this evening, and I look forward to the presentation.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to, thank the commissioner for bringing forth the resolution and for all the folks from organized labor here this evening. I think often what happens with holidays over time is that we come to celebrate the day off or the vacation, and we sometimes can lose sight of the underlying meaning of the holiday. And Labor Day brings with it a lot of wonderful sort of end of summer trips, but also it is important, I think, to actually remember the point of it, and the work that we honor, that working men and women of this country who keep it going day in and day out. Like Commissioner Wagner, I owe a lot to my family owes a lot to organized labor. My grandfather, Francis Carpenter, when he came back from the Pacific Theater in World War II after multiple years abroad, married my grandmother, Mary. They had 11 children together, one of which was my dad. She was obviously a stay-at-home mom, taking care of the 11 kids over the course of many, many years. And my grandfather, Francis, worked at Armco Steel as a union steel worker for 30 plus years. A couple of his sons ended up working there for a brief time as well. And it was because of that giant family of 11 was able to get by and give his kids, their kids, a chance at a better life. And so proud to honor that legacy and thank the commissioner for honoring the men and women of today who keep us going.
Commissioner Lawson.
Yes, I'd like to thank Commissioner Withington for bringing this forward as well. For many years, I was a member of, although it wasn't mentioned, the Communication Workers of America, the CWA. And I saw how valuable they were, many times supporting people who might have gotten otherwise fired, making sure people got the benefits they needed. They were always there for us, walked a line carrying a little sign, and it wasn't a campaign sign. And I just appreciated all they did for me. So thank you very much for doing that, and we do appreciate our union friends and partners.
I'd like to make a comment also. Thank you, of course, for the resolution being brought forward. Something I would like to point out is that this is to honor all labor. Certainly the members that the commissioner had just enumerated, but there are a lot of people, a lot of men and women who work in restaurants and wait tables. That is labor that is extremely difficult some days. Shop owners, small businesses. Labor is what this country was built on. And the fact that we have so many individuals who go to work every day, do their job, and come home and raise their families and contribute to our communities, that's what America is built on, is the fact that we have men and women who go out there and they will work tirelessly in their positions, and they will indeed make the society better. So I think that as we honor all labor on this weekend coming up, we should remember that it is many of us. My own grandfather was a member of the Railroad Workers Union, and a number of my father was a union member, a Teamster. So we all, I think, have some connection to organized labor, and we also have connection to labor that is not necessarily unionized. So I think honoring everybody from the worker at the Ford plant to the waitress over at in the local restaurant, we need to make sure that we thank those individuals for putting out the effort and the sweat that it takes to make this country great. Any further comments before I go back to Commissioner Withington? Is there anyone? Commissioner, did you have someone who's queued up to speak?
Yeah, if any of them would like to speak, I see several of them here. So if any of them would like to come up and talk, they can.
If anybody would like to come up, please make sure that the green light is on, push the button, state your name, and then make your statement, and we'll kind of go in order of who comes up to the dais.
Yeah, if not, we can just take a...
All right, we will stand at ease for a moment while we just...
wants to...
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amber Gibson. I am the first vice president for the Greater Kansas City AFL-CIO and the vice president for the Missouri State AFL-CIO. I'm also the senior business representative for Seafarers, which I represent members just like you talked about. I have waitresses, waiters, I have custodial, I have maintenance workers, I have a variety of people. So yes, it's not just the men and women that are on assembly lines and those kinds of things, or truck drivers, whatever. So I appreciate the acknowledgement and thank you. I just want you to know how much the men and women that have built this country deserve this recognition, and it's greatly appreciated by labor. So thank you all for taking your time and your kind words. It's very important. I just hope that as everyone moves forward, that they will continue to remember this country was built on sweat and blood, heartbreak, exhaustion, and everything else of men and women that have stood and worked, and especially those that have united to fight for the rights, for fair wages, for a 40-hour work week, those vacation, those types of things, and the fight continues. So we always need the support. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak before we distribute the signed resolutions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward in front of the dais. Okay, that concludes ceremonial matters. That brings us to public comments. Are there any citizens present who would like to address the commission on any issue of importance to them that is not on our agenda? We have a couple of items that are on for discussion that would be the appropriate time if that's what you're here to speak upon. Seeing none. Okay, we have two discussion items this evening. The first one is the Idecker Quarry with Cameron Road citizens. Mr. Administrator, if you'd like to introduce that.
Yes, so the first item on is the Idecker Quarry with the Cameron Road citizens. Commissioner Joanne Lawson will take it from here regarding the additional information.
That would be great. By the way, this is an issue that I believe we spoke upon, I want to say March 26th, so there was a lot of commentary made then. What I would like to do is to try to keep comments down to just several minutes if possible. The other thing is we did cover a lot of territory, so if we could have the emphasis maybe on that information which the commission has not yet heard. So any new information might be best to kind of put at the top of it. In our last conversation, I believe it was the counselor who told us that we have as a commission a limited number of things that we can take action on in regard to this. With that, if those, after we start the discussion, we'll have a little bit of discussion up here, then I would like to go ahead, if those who are interested in joining the conversation from the public would like to come up and kind of line up there, and then we will recognize you each individually as we go forward. Once again, make sure the green light is on. Please state your name and then make your comments. How many people are here to comment on this particular issue, just so I have an idea of how to direct traffic? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. That sounds like it's a pretty manageable number. With that, I will recognize Commissioner Lawson.
Okay, I've attended a couple of meetings since our last visit we had with this situation. And so I got a call the other day, and they just asked if they could come back and maybe give us some new information and share some more with them. I do know that the number of explosions per day have increased, as well as the strength of those have increased significantly. I've been getting reports from IDECR that list what every one of those occurrences are and what level they are. So, you know, I gave that to the citizens, and they can kind of look at that and compare to the notes they've taken on different occurrences. So with that, I'd like them to come forward. They tell this better than anyone else can. So if you'd
Well,
like-
before we go to the,
Oh, I'm
I want to
sorry.
see if
Yeah.
other commissioners want
Okay.
to comment, and then we
All
will
right.
go to the
Okay.
public. So
That's
are there
fine.
any other commissioners that have anything to add to the discussion before we get started with the members of the public? I'm seeing head shakes all the way around. So as I said, please line up, and so I can kind of keep track of who's there. Come up one at a time and identify yourself and state what your thoughts are on this subject. Please come forward. Yes, sir?
Did that video get done? You good?
Yeah, let me,
By the way, you might tilt your mic up a little so
Yes,
you can
sir.
be heard better.
My name's Nathaniel Beagley. I talked to you guys last time. I live on Cameron Road towards Excelsior Springs. I do pay Clay County taxes. We pay Excelsior Springs schools tax. I just want to thank you for allowing us and all the community members to be here again and listen to a couple of things that have been happening. We also want to say thanks for coming out and looking at the mine that we had asked you to come out and do. So we do appreciate that time and showing your concerns in that matter. We also noticed there's another seismograph in our area, so we appreciate that as well. I think the more information that's being presented, then that makes everybody on all sides and all parties feel better about everything, right? So I'm kind of at a loss for words. It seems very much like a struggle. It's hard to believe that this is happening in my community and around my neighbors. I thought we were going to come out there, get out of the military, get away from the airport, get away from explosions. But that's where we are. I deal with it. Everybody here deals with it every single day. They are shaking my house. There is some damage that I would say is probably part of this. So I do have a video. I want to try to keep it short so other people can speak today. But I do have a video of just different clips that I've kind of gathered over the last month or so that have basically what it sounds like in my house when these go off. So
How long is the video, by the way?
it's maybe 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I tried to cut them all and put them together just to make it
Certainly.
short and sweet. So,
okay.
that's
Let them
really.
know you're ready.
Yep,
They're-
I'm ready whenever you guys want to look
Okay.
at it. And they may have to turn it up just a little bit, I don't know.
This is high-tech stuff. Maybe they won't. Oh, there we go.
I don't know. Definitely got to turn it up though. But it does, it shakes my house. It's just very much a disturbance every single day that I feel like I shouldn't have to deal with. Like I said, we may not even get the video on there, we don't know. And that will be my goal. I don't even think it's playing through it. It's just showing the clip.
Damn.
While that's loading, or he's trying to get it up and we can hear it or whatever, I do just want to say that we are glad that we were able to come up here. This is messing with everybody's kind of daily life. We understand everybody needs gravel, we need rock, we need infrastructure, we know all these things. There's other means and measures that have been presented or been brought up on ways to gather those materials besides blasting. Pretty much at this point, I just feel like they're going to continue to do what they are going to do. And basically, it's just going to be a matter of time before, you know, I'm going to become uncomfortable with what's happening on the operation down there. And eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to have to probably leave my family's farm that we thought was going to be peaceful Clay County land. And it's also going to force other people to be like, well, why don't I annex into Mosby too? So I think that's a huge thing that we need to try to present. This is now a very difficult area. You've got Prathersville. We've seen the edit from the videos last time and the pictures. We definitely just want to let you all know that this is still happening on a daily basis. It used to be about 3:45 every day. Now we've even had them going off at 8:30 in the morning now. So they've kind of changed the structure on that. I don't know what the reason is or any of that stuff. But it just seems like it's a little bit of just to be kind of a nuisance, right? I guess if we were a nuisance, they want to be a nuisance to us. So if we can get the video, that's great. If not, we'll get another one, and then I'll have to come back and we will present that video because it shakes my whole entire house.
Perhaps you could maybe forward the video to the administrator, and then you can make sure that we all get it in a form that we can open on our computers. That might be a most efficient way.
I'll get that dispatched.
Yeah, we'll make that happen, sir. So I definitely want you guys to be able to hear that and see that and what's going on. That would even allow us to get other stuff. So we're very worried about also that intersection down there in between the asphalt plant and the quarry, which is located on Cameron Road and 69, right? There has been multiple fatalities in that area. I have personally wrote the state of Missouri asking them to, let's slow it down, let's make sure people are stopping, whatever we got to do, mow down the grass. So I do want to see if, we can't maybe get something from Clay County to reach out and say, hey, this is a concern, this is a bad area, right? And get some maybe some better things going on in that area first off, so other Clay County citizens aren't driving through there and not ever being able to go do anything else they want to. That's really all I got right now. I think there's a couple other people that want to speak. Sorry I didn't get my video to work for you guys, but that's definitely something I'll be coming back for because you need to hear that. So, any questions of me right now?
I see none. Thank you, and I certainly sympathize with you on your struggles with technology.
Yeah, no, it's good. I was good. I didn't know what was going on, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next citizen, please.
Hello, I'm Chris McClaskey, and I live at 23407 Northeast 140th Street. I have also sent a video to Joanne that she could maybe forward to you all from the perspective from my house. It's quite interesting video. It's not something you want to see outside your back door every day. So I just want to thank you for allowing us to come and speak to you all again. These concerns we have are not, as some have suggested, that we're just trying to cause trouble. These are our lives. Every day we live with this. Nathan said they are now blasting 2 to 3 times a day. Not all of them are as strong as the one, at 3, usually around 3:45. But it's still now 2 to 3 times a day. And I know recently you all have been discussing Clay County and, trying to bring businesses into Clay County. Well, and especially along the airport and 69 Highway. Well, when we went to Excelsior, they informed us that they've had businesses back out Because businesses these days use electronic equipment that are very sensitive to any movement. And because of the seismograph or seismic activity due to the quarry, they are backing out. So that should be a concern for Clay County. I mean, you want to bring businesses in, but you allow a business to come in that's going to stop businesses, you know, which should be a concern for you. The same concern on our side, except it's a personal issue. It's not just a government issue. We would like to have you guys behind us in these concerns. I did receive the seismograph readings today from Joanne, and I need somebody to explain to me why it is that the people getting the readings are not the homeowners in the area. We're not getting those readings. We're having to get them forwarded from one or the other. Joanne gets them. David Rodas gets them. Why is he getting them and we're not getting them? The thing sits across the street from my front door, purposely, I'm sure. But I don't get the readings from the seismograph. And I would like someone to explain to me why we are not getting those readings. I think the answer is pretty clear, and it's concerning. I also would like you all to address, when we were here last time, we had quite a few of you comment on different ways maybe that you could step in and look into things. One was to lowering that threshold for the blasting. So if someone could speak on that. And I think they were going to work with Bill Allen on that subject. So we would kind of like you guys to give us some feedback of maybe where you have gone with some of the things that you said that you would do when we were here last time. We would appreciate that. We're working hard trying to protect ourselves, and we need you guys to work hard to protect us too. It's not just the businesses that mean something in Clay County, it's also us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next citizen, please.
My name is David McClaskey, and I live at 23407 Northeast 140th Street. First thing that I would like to do this evening is offer up a prayer for the two people that just lost their lives in the aircraft accident at the airport the other day. My prayers go out to their families. Second thing I'd like to bring up is the seismograph that we've got placed out there. Like my wife said, it's been placed across the street from my front door. I think they put it as far away as they possibly could. Make the readings look better. I think it's quite appropriate that we are all here today on this Thursday before Labor Day. Every person that you see here from our community, hardworking men and women that gave everything that they have to have the quality of life that they have out there that we have. And it's being destroyed. Quite simply, it's just being destroyed. It's not fair to us. I know that last time that we were here, we had discussion about there needed to be something done at the state level with quarries in general, not just Idecker, but quarries in general in the state of Missouri. Why are they allowed to be mining so close to residents, especially, it's not just like one or two houses scattered out. We have a whole community that's being affected. It's not just one or two people. The road situation, I know for a fact, I've been around some other quarries in the state recently. The roads from those quarries to the main roads are trashed. So apparently that's a problem with every quarry in the state. Why they're not having to take care of that situation, I don't know. We've had an issue with Mosby that they had a meeting and passed a whole bunch of ordinances so that they could cover themselves for the underground mining that's going on right now. They didn't do it appropriately, so now we're having to go back through that again. And I know that the city of Mosby has currently set a contract up with Clay County to patrol their area because they don't have a police force and there's issues going on. Our question is, if they pass all these ordinances, is Clay County going to uphold those ordinances and hold the quarry accountable to be in line with those ordinances? That's our question for that. In ending, like I said, I would just like to thank you guys again. This is the third time that I've been here before you guys. We appreciate all the help that you can give us. We would really appreciate if you could possibly take some of these issues to the state level, because it is an issue that needs to be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Well, good evening. My name is Dave Thomas. I live at 14912 Cameron Road. So instead of going back to what we had talked about previously, let's move forward. As you know, you received a copy of a letter that was generated by the concerned citizens of Cameron Road that was provided to the city of Mosby. In that letter, there were a significant number of questions that were provided on the Missouri State approach to business, and that's show me, right? Show us it. Well, so we must have hit a nerve because the city of Mosby created, quite frankly, what was a pretty good oversight plan, to be very honest with you. And they created it and wrote it up in record time. Where they got it from, I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. It looked really great, except for when we had a conversation with them and we asked a number of questions of how are you going to execute this oversight of all of these things that are in your plan? And ladies and gentlemen, they didn't have an answer to any of them. You see, quite frankly, my issue is not with the Rose family. They're just looking to take an opportunity to sell the land. And quite frankly, my issue is not with Idecker. Idecker is a corporation, they're just looking to do business, right? So what business isn't going to do business? And if the oversight, the governmental oversight agencies don't oversee it, businesses are driven by the bottom line. Simple as that. So, you know, there are issues with Cameron Road. There are issues with that stop sign at Cameron Road and 69 Highway. There are issues where those big trucks don't stop, and a terrible accident which occurred, just the latest one within the last week or so. And from what I understand, the truck driver said, it was my fault. Is that Idecker's problem? It is not. It isn't. It's the owner of the trucking company and the driver of the truck that's got a CDL. It's their problem. But the real question is, who owns the responsibility of policing, overseeing that? Well, let me see. Now, I've got a lot of years in law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen, almost about 50 of them. I'm pretty old. And some of it with local law enforcement agencies. And when you have multi-jurisdictional issues, it's extremely difficult to figure out who's going to do what to who and how come and for how long. And so you've got the county road that comes up, stops just by the end of the Rodell property line, and then the Idecker line, and then, oh, by the way, it's Mosby for a while, and then it stops and it's Excelsior Springs for a while, all the way up to 69. Excelsior Springs Highway Department was just out there weed whacking around the fire hydrant the other day so that it could be clear in case they needed it. So who's responsible for the road? Well, in that beautiful document that Mosby set up, questions that in that letter we asked, why are you not holding them responsible to repair the road like you allegedly said you would? You know, it was interesting. It wasn't until the concerned citizens of Cameron Road brought up the issue of underground mining that all of a sudden, there was in fact a permit that was granted or a document that was signed by a governmental agency to allow IDECR to underground mine. Now, does it matter who they got it from? Well, there's three choices, and any of the three choices, it doesn't matter because they're all okay, I would argue. There's the city of Mosby, there's Clay County, and then there's, oh, by the way, the state. Interestingly enough, because the stuff already started, they took the path and decided to go what could be considered to be the path of least resistance, and they got the approval from the state. And if you look at the letter, the date of the letter from the state, and then you look to see what the date of that letter of authority is and what the date is that the folks started complaining about it, what you'll see is the complaint started way before the letter started. But the fact is, oh, by the way, now they have that approval to underground mine. I'll be darned. They went to, again, it's a business, right? Talks about air quality in Mosby's plan. How are they going to measure it and how are they going to maintain it? Talks about accountability for oversight. Sure, I do believe that Mosby is entering into an agreement with the Clay County Sheriff's Office for some kind of enforcement. Oh, by the way, it's not 24/7. It's periods of time. And do you really believe that the amount of officers or sheriff deputies that they're going to have that's going to be responsible for the city of Mosby are going to pay attention to Cameron Road by that quarry? When in our last attendance, my last attendance at one of Mosby's meetings, they had their own Mosby residents there complaining about vagrants and their dogs attacking their children. They'll walk around there because there wasn't anybody policing what was going on there. Look, at the end of the day, it's as simple as this, and honest to God it is. Politicians run for re-election from the time they're elected. Some politicians show, and some politicians show up. It's as simple as that. Some politicians run and rub elbows with those that will get them re-elected, have the money, have the influence, and others, they roll up their sleeves, ironically enough, talking just about this holiday coming up. They roll up their sleeves with labor, with the folks, the fine folks that are in their communities, and they show up. Now, some of you absolutely had some authority and jurisdiction to a degree, or at least I would promote an elected interest to be more involved in this thing. And there's one person that I can tell you rolled her sleeves up and showed up. And Joanne, I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's as simple as that. One out of others that couldn't and didn't. Duly noted. Maybe you don't have to worry about that re-election. I'm not pointing those fingers either. But here's my point. On the wall, right outside this door, and I'm going to enter because I'm getting on a little bit of a lecture box and I have a propensity of doing that, and I apologize for that. But right up there on the wall, what it simply says is this county is as strong as the integrity of its citizens. Men of high character made it strong, and men of low ideals weaken it. The stability of a government is determined by the character of its citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, that's these folks, not just these folks. Oh, it's these folks too, but it's these folks as well. And ended it, character is the core of ourselves, the truth in our hearts. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say right now. Maybe you want to closely examine, if you so chose, that Mosby plan of oversight and ask the hard questions. Because sooner or later, maybe sooner, another letter will be received by the city of Mosby, along a copy to you and a copy to all those other folks that received it, asking the same questions. Where is the oversight that you propose in this fine document? Oh, it's a splendid, maybe plagiarized from somewhere else, because it was created pretty quickly, document of oversight, not worth the words that are written on the paper unless it's executed. Thank you so very much, and happy Labor Day.
Next citizen, please.
Hi, I'm Pam Smith. I live at 136th Street and Cameron Road. I'm probably not going to be as polite. I'm mad. I'm aggravated at you guys. Joanne has been the only one that's responded to us. We've asked for your help. And we asked tonight, have you guys have any input on what's going on in our neighborhood? You guys didn't have nothing to say. I don't know what you guys can do, but it's your job to find out. I'm just an old lady that is losing her equity in her home and the peace and tranquility we have. I can't drive to 69 Highway without being covered in dust from the rock quarry, or to be threatened by those big trucks coming out of the rock quarry. It's awful, guys. What would you do if this was in your backyard? Tell me, what would you do? You wouldn't be sitting here just thinking, oh, it's going to just fly by. They're going to get tired of showing up. It's in our yards. We have spent time, like they said, this is blood, sweat, and tears that we poured into our property. We have a measly 3 acres, and we love our 3 acres, and we've put a lot of love and money into that place. And now we can't even enjoy it, and we're getting at the age is, where is our equity going in our home? Who's going to want to drive up and down Cameron Road that the holes are so big, the dust is so bad, and you're face to face with semi-trucks coming in and out that's overloaded? You guys have, to me, I feel like you guys have the power to enforce somebody, the sheriffs, to make these, what they're doing is wrong. I don't know who put the cameras up at the end of 69 and Cameron Road, what they were taking pictures of, what were they looking for? I don't know that. I would like to know. Do you guys know? Anybody? Who put up the cameras? What were they looking for? Does anybody know? MoDOT? And what were they looking for?
Please go ahead and address your comments to the commission. I mean, we you know, this, and you can certainly come up, sir,
I assume they're looking
and
for
speak later.
trucks that are coming out of there that's overloaded. We had one of our neighbors had a semi-truck come out of the rock quarry, uncovered, overloaded because the rock was piled way up above its sides. He's seen the MoDOT down there. He backed all the way back up Cameron Road so he'd go back in there because he knew he was overloaded. He was illegal. But there's nobody there to stop him. Every day, it goes on. The dust is horrible. We still cannot open our windows. What are you guys doing for us? I know you're sitting here listening to us, and it's important, and we thank you for that. But what are you doing? We can't get anybody to respond to our letters. Nobody is doing anything. You're just sitting here listening. Has any of you guys actually done something, directed somebody to do something? Find out what's going on, what can make our lives better? But I guarantee you if it was in your backyard, you would.
Next person would like to come forward and speak? Seeing none. Commissioner, would you like to go ahead and sum up the... Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute.
sorry.
We do have someone. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Commissioner Nolte, my name is Jim Bowers, members of the commission. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Idecker Quarry, and there are two sides to this discussion. With me tonight is my partner, Patricia Jensen. Our offices are at 4510 Bellevue, Kansas City, Missouri. Also with me tonight is Mr. Chad Heitman, who's the Director of Mining for Idecker, as well as Ken Idecker, who is one of the owners of the quarry, David and Doreen Rodas, who are the owners of property adjacent to the quarry, and Renee Idecker, who is leasing the property to the Ideckers to operate the mine. We represent the Idecker Quarry. It's been located in Mosby since 2013. In 2024, the quarry started excavating rock underground. The quarry had been an above-ground pit quarry until that time. May 1st, David Rodas filed a petition with the city of Mosby to annex 89 additional acres on the northern border of the quarry to allow Idecker to expand the quarry for its underground mining operation. The public hearing on his annexation request was heard by the Mosby Board of Aldermen June 30th of this year. The Board of Aldermen is now calling an election for the annexation question in November of this year. It's an election to determine whether or not that additional 89 acres should be added to the existing quarry in Mosby. You've received testimony tonight that Idecker is operating the quarry in violation of the relevant regulations, and you've been asked to help the opponents somehow bring Idecker to its heels on the theory that there are no agencies or no entities that are regulating this activity. That's a false notion. Idecker's quarry is regulated both at the federal, state, and local level. At the federal level, the Mine Safety and Health Administration, sometimes known as MSHA, you hear that acronym, which stands for Mine Safety and Health Administration, which is an agency of the United States Department of Labor, is the primary authority for mine safety and health. It is authorized by the Federal Mine Safety and Health Act of 1977 to inspect all mines. Idecker's mine is inspected quarterly, and MSHA is required to investigate all complaints that are filed with it concerning the mine. The mine has been inspected 6 times over the last year. 4 of those are quarterly inspections. 2 of those inspections were because complaints were filed. No violations were found in any of those 6 inspections. And they further confirmed that the underground mining is within the mining plan boundaries, the boundaries of the plan that is on file. One of the complaints that was filed at the time was that Idecker was mining outside the boundaries of the mine, under the public road, Cameron Road, under adjacent neighbors' property, all of which were false. At the state level, we're also regulated by the Missouri Mining Commission. That is an agency with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, commonly referred to as DNR. It is the primary governing body for mine issues and is responsible for issuing mining permits, enforcing mining laws, and ensuring beneficial restoration of mined lands to protect the public health and safety. Idecker's most recent Mosby Quarry permit was issued February 14th, 2022. DNR has inspected the quarry 2 times this year. No violations were found. The Missouri Division of Fire Safety, the fire marshal of the state, has adopted U.S. Bureau of Mines 18507 report, which establishes safe blasting limits. There are limits that are established by the United States Bureau of Mines as to the amount of blasting that can be done in connection with the operation of a mine. The fire marshal received blasting complaints in May. It's interesting that those complaints, we didn't hear any complaints until we filed Mr. Rodas filed an application to annex his property into Mosby. That's when the complaints started. We've been in operation since 2013, essentially no complaints. But the fire marshal came out because of a blasting complaint filed in May, inspected Idecker's quarry, and found no violations. At the local level, you've heard tonight complaints about the city of Mosby not doing its job. Well, all I can tell you is that Mosby has a code of ordinances. It's a very thorough code of ordinances that includes Chapter 400, which is the zoning regulations. The Idecker Quarry operation follows the requirements of the zoning ordinance. Since the expansion of the quarry in 2022, Idecker has maintained a seismograph operated by Vibratech. That's a third-party contractor that Idecker has hired to install a seismograph to monitor the vibration, the movement that is caused by blasting. And that seismograph that was installed in 2022 has continued to be in operation. Idecker has nothing to do with the operation of that seismograph other than pay the third-party contractor to operate it. And those reports are from the seismograph are posted every time a blast occurs. That original seismograph is approximately 100 feet from the current face of the underground mine near Rene Rodas' house. The seismograph is there to monitor the vibration of each blast to ensure that it does not exceed the safe blasting levels established by the United States Bureau of Mines. None of Idecker's blasts exceed the safe blasting levels. Commissioner Lawson, I understand you have received those daily blasting reports, which was confirmed by some of the citizens. We met with you July 7th for the purpose of discussing the complaints that had been previously filed by the citizens, to explain to you how the mine is being operated and the activities of the seismograph. As a result of that discussion, we installed a second seismograph, not near the mine, but to address the complaints that we'd received from the McClaskeys. We hadn't received any, but we'd heard them in public hearing that the McClaskeys had complained about blasting. So, to put that second seismograph in it, at not inconsiderable expense, it was installed across the street from the McClaskeys. We did not enter their property. We got as close to their property as we could without invading their property, and it's across 140th Street on the north side. That second seismograph, when blast occurred, the vibration was so low that it did not trigger the second seismograph. The seismograph has a low end to it. There's a low-level blast that triggers the seismograph to work. So when we weren't getting readings, we asked Fibertech to reduce the low-level meter to allow lesser vibrations to be registered, trigger the seismograph so we'd have reports. They did that. The seismograph across the street from McClaskeys is now at a low-level trigger limit below what the Bureau of Mines recommends so that it would record those blasts. That's why you're getting more blast reports now than you previously did, because cars driving by will trigger it, it's so low. The trains that pass on the track that's immediately adjacent to the McClaskey property triggers the seismograph, and lawnmowers trigger the seismograph. It produces more reports, not because there's more blasting, but because there are more events from these non-blasting activities that trigger the seismograph. In conclusion, I don't want to take up more time than you've been gracious enough to give me. There's no evidence that Idecker's blasting has damaged nearby properties. There's simply no evidence that is corroborated. We've got testimony from people who oppose the expansion of the mine, I understand that they believe that when they see cracks in their drywall, that they associate that with the blasting activity of the mine. However, the blasting limits that are set by the United States Bureau of Mines are based upon years and years and years of study of residential properties to determine at what level will blasting affect residential properties in a way to crack drywall or plaster. And by the way, all of those studies recognize that houses typically do experience cracks in plaster and drywall without explosions being nearby. That's the normal evolution of houses. My house has done that, and I'm not near a quarry. The nearest neighbor in this case is Ms. Rene Rodas, who has testified that blasting has not damaged her house or structure. Yes, she is the landlord leasing the property to the Ideckers, and she's receiving royalties as a result of that. So her testimony can be considered in that light. But she has testified before other public hearings that she's the closest neighbor The mine is immediately adjacent to her, and she has experienced no damage to her house as a result of the blast. The seismographs support that, so her testimony is corroborated by an independent scientific source, and that's the seismograph. So I thank you for the time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Any of the other people that are with me today would be happy to respond to your questions as well.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I understand all the, why, if this is not threatening in any way, did Excelsior Springs lose several potential businesses that had concerns because of the sensitivity of the equipment that would be in their business? They felt that this was detrimental, and so consequently pulled their business out. So the other side of that is...
I've not heard any of that, by the way. I'd like to dig into that and get to which businesses, what were they involved in, why did they not locate there? I think there may be a number of factors.
That came from Molly McGovern, who is as solid
She's
an individual
the city
as you
manager,
could.
yes, ma'am.
Yep. The other thing is, I didn't just take these people at their word and say, whoa, this is bad, the IDECR is bad, and these people are good. I was at their houses. I went up on the road when some of these recent blasts have occurred, and you can hear it, you can feel it. Now, I haven't had a chance. What happened, and I apologize to Mr. IDECR, because I called him and said, your man never sent me those reports I asked for. But the other day, I was clearing out my spam. There they all were in their glory. So I'd like to scrutinize that more heavily, and then...
You're welcome to do that. And by the way,
I
to the extent that other citizens want that information, we're more than happy to make it available to them. It is public information as far as we're concerned.
Well, and you know something, my husband has great respect for you because you were one of the people that stopped the landfill from going into Holt. So you know what it's like when people are affected in a negative manner. You were on the other side of the fence at that one.
That's correct.
So these people have the same concerns that those people have. And I get where you're coming from. You know, you're a paid employee, and you're going to fight for them as hard as you can. So sometime, take the time, anybody that wants to, any of us up here that want to, go to their house at 3:45 or whenever that blast occurs, sit there and feel it yourself. And then we can say good or bad. The other thing is, I thought that after that blasting had started, that Mrs. Rodis's barn collapsed partially. Is that not true? That may not be true. I heard that.
She's shaking her head no.
I said, no, okay. Well, somebody said that the barn had partially had some negative damage. The other thing is 210 Highway, when they had the quarry down there and they were blasting, luckily the people who had concerns were in Clay County, as was the quarry. And as they investigated, the people at the quarry had, in fact, now I'm not saying IDECRs did that, because I've been inside the underground. I don't know what's happened since I was there, but when I was there, they weren't exceeding their limit. But the people at the 210 quarry were exceeding the limit by a great deal and doing great damage to people's homes. I think that we need to be going to the state or wherever we need to go. I've called a couple of reps, and in fact, I have a meeting this week with one of our state reps to talk about what can we do, what can they do to monitor more closely and take some action on behalf of these people. These are our citizens, people that voted us into office. And I'm seeing their quality of life destroyed. Don't want to get rid of business. You know, you want to have the Eidecker there. When they were above ground, there didn't seem to be as big a problem. Now that it's underground, I can see that there could be, and I'm no engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that the state needs to do more investigation. We as a commission sure in the hell went down to Jeff City and fought tooth and toenail to get money to support the Royals staying in Missouri. And I'm all for that. I want them to stay. Don't want them to go. But we fought, some people fought tooth and toenail to get that done. They also fought to get different, what do you call it, that we just did with the governor?
Sports Authority.
Yeah, Sports Authority. Oh, we had to have that Sports Authority. And we pushed as hard as we could push to get that done. So in the effect that the Royals came to Clay County, we could handle it. So, you know, we have some power. No, we don't have any power over Mosby. We can go there, as I went to City Hall and spoke, but that's not going to make any difference to anybody. But I think that we, as a commission, can do more to have our state officials do some investigation, and it may all turn out beautifully. They've got engineers, they can look at those reports, they can say, hey, you guys are crazy, this thing hasn't exceeded its limit. You can do all kinds of things, but we as a body can't do it. Other than to lobby to maybe help these people. So, you know, I can see that that's probably our only out that we've got at this point in time to help everybody. You know, we can be there, we can support them, we can talk with Excelsior, you know, even go to Mosby and talk. It's not going to do any good. But at any rate, I think that we need to be more closely involved and see if there isn't something that we can do. But I appreciate you, and I know that you're doing all the things that you really should do as their legal advisor.
Well, thank you.
And they're lucky to have you, but I think that there's more to this story than meets the eye.
In a closing note, I would just say that in 2024, when we decided to go underground, we did that for the purpose of reducing the environmental impact of the quarry operations. It reduces the dust to zero. It keeps the activity underground out of sight. We thought we were improving things, and it's disappointing to hear that people are complaining about us going underground as opposed to being above ground. So,
Yeah.
and my final closing remark is, I too was a member of Local 10 for years when I worked my way through law school. So, and as my father was. So we're proud members of the To Be Iron Workers.
Before you go, we have another commissioner who I believe had a question. Commissioner Wagner?
I did. Don't run away, Mr. Bowers. My question is just, and maybe you may or may not have the answer, but I think it will help me in understanding the magnitude of issue as well as our purview in doing something about it. You had mentioned in your comments that you had, or that a secondary seismograph was placed in order to better understand what, if any, effect blasting may have occurred as a result further away from where they normally are set. My question is, I guess, twofold. One, based on the Bureau of Mines standards, I would assume that seismographs are set at a certain distance and there is a certain level that they must stay below. And then by placing the seismograph further away, what was its distance? And as you recounted, folks, even mowing could somehow set that off. So understanding what level that was set to. So if you have those two sets of numbers, I think that would help me.
I can provide that to you. I have maps, exhibits that I've used for other hearings. I didn't anticipate that question, didn't bring them today. But I will provide you with both the distance and the level at which the reduced trigger was set.
That'd be great. And again, understanding what the standard from the Bureau of Mines is, which I would assume are also on those maps.
Yeah, and just as a point of reference, seismographs are not required by the Bureau of Mines or by the Missouri Mining Commission. We do that to protect ourselves, basically, against claims that our blasting activity is exceeding those thresholds, which would be associated with damage.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's really understanding those thresholds that I like to get to.
Happy to do that.
Very good.
I'll do that in writing and
Great. And please feel welcome to share that through the county administrator as well.
I will.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the next gentleman, I want to make sure that, because we're coming up on almost an hour now, so we've kind of talked around this thing. This is making like 3 or 4 hours that we've been discussing this, which is pretty extensive. Is there anyone else who would like to have a first opportunity to speak? Because before we go give people second bite at the apple, I want to make sure everybody else has had their opportunity to speak first. Is there anyone else who would care to speak on this issue? Please step forward then, sir.
I've just got a couple clarification points in the comment that the fine lawyer said, and thank you very much. So I have a little experience in the federal government, about 42 years of it, and I would propose to you that though these folks from the mining and DNR and all that might have went and done those inspections, they were notified ahead of time, they were scheduled, and they showed up when the schedule was, just like when you folks went there to see them, you did a schedule and all that. I believe he said he did it a couple times in a year, or maybe 3 times, whatever. 6. Well, that quarry is in operation 6 times?
6 times.
Perfect, thank you. 6 times. That quarry is in operation at least 6 days a week, every week. How do I know? Because I drive down that road on Saturday mornings and those trucks are coming out of there, so that's the 6th day. So 6 days a week for 4 weeks a month, that's 24 of those rascals. And let's do simple math for folks. At 10 months, that's 240 of those. And they were there 6 times, pre-scheduled, and showed up. Nobody has had those mining folks, who I would propose are more than welcome to be in these folks' residences when those explosions go off, to see and feel the shaking of the residences and all that stuff, right? So it doesn't matter to me what is yes, sir, I understand. It's their statute. It doesn't matter to me what the statistical analysis over a period of time says is acceptable for blasting. That's a study. Listen, folks, you can get a study to get it to answer anything you want to answer. There's an argument, a theoretical argument. Figures lie, liars figure. It's just a conceptual argument. You can have a study, say anything you wanted to say. I can appreciate what the study says. Until you've been in that house or been in that pole building or whatever, and you felt it and you've seen it. In order to say the blasts are within those limits, and as a result, those blasts are not causing damage to those residences, I would propose to you as short-sighted and maybe not completely informed. That's all. They may have a study. They may have scheduled visits. That doesn't mean that every single execution of it is the way it should be. I'm not saying it isn't. Something's happening to these folks' residences. Period. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Oh, would you come up to the microphone? Hold on. Mr. Bowers, if you'd like to come up, because it's much better if we can hear your comments at the microphone.
I know you don't want back and forth, and I'm trying to avoid that.
Thank you.
But the comments just made were that somehow these inspections are scheduled and that we know about it in advance. They are all surprise inspections to us. They're not scheduled.
Thank you. We are coming up on an hour. I see one other citizen who'd like to make a comment. If you could make it brief. I think I'd like to cut this off at the hour mark, which is pretty much where we're coming up to. So did you have something you wanted to add? And please try to be brief.
Again, I'm Dave McClaskey. The people that he referred to, that they put the seismograph over across the street from my house, and he talked about that the train set it off, and my lawnmower sets it off, and the big trucks going down the road that coming from the quarry and they're not supposed to be. One of them took out my mom's mailbox here about 2 weeks ago. The difference between the blasting and, yes, I live pretty close to some railroad tracks. That rumbles. Yeah, I hear the railroad and it rumbles, but it does not shake my house the way that the blasts do. I can set a bowl of water on my dining room table at 3:45, and when they blast, you can watch the ripples in that bowl like somebody dropped a rock in a pond. So, yeah, it's shaking stuff. Now, all the seismograph readings, anything that you want to put out there, like Joanne said, until you've stood there, experienced it, and you know what's happening, you don't get it. My house is not that new of a house. I'm quite sure it wasn't built to be shook. It was built to be on solid ground that doesn't move, but it moves. The ground moves. I don't know what else to tell you on that. Why is it fair for us to have to suffer through that every day, every work day of the week? We have to suffer through that. Nobody else does anywhere around. And again, I put it to you guys, this really, really, really needs to go to the state level. There's got to be something done about it. Whatever the state regulations are, they're not up to date on what it should be allowed for a mining company to do close to a community.
Okay. Commissioner Withington?
I guess this is probably for any of the residents. Have any of you guys reached out to the state to try to have a town hall with your Senator Curtis Gregory? Joanne, you're friends with Curtis Gregory. Can you set that up?
Let me tell you.
Hold on a second, Commissioner.
I thought I was on.
No, you are now.
I did call Curtis Gregory's office twice. I thought I was his best buddy. I was when he was wanting me to get signs put up. But he didn't return either of my calls. Seriously, did not return a call. Now, that may have been when they were very busy and all, but could have called me later on. I just want to say two things, Jerry.
And then when you're done, I won't.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. No, go ahead.
Well, like I said,
Go ahead.
and Commissioners, I realize that you have some things to say, and the Commission's not had much to weigh in yet. However, we are pretty much past the 1 hour mark. We don't have a timed thing, but I do want to, I just want to make, excuse me, Commissioner, may I finish my sentence? May I finish my sentence? May I finish my sentence? May I finish my sentence?
May you finish
I
your
will,
sentence?
yes,
Go ahead, hurry up, so I
and
can talk, because I haven't talked at all this time. I've been waiting for everybody else to talk.
perhaps if you listen to what I say, it might enlighten your remarks. We are in fact, exceeded the hour mark. I am willing to give some deference to commissioners who want to speak further. I hope that is okay with you. And I just wanted to caution you to say that we do have a full agenda beyond this, so please be considerate of those who are here to discuss other issues. With
That's why
that,
I waited
you
till
are
everybody else-
recognized, Commissioner.
I was being considerate. That's why I let everybody else talk before I did. And Jerry, we have a consent agenda that's going to take all of one vote. We have 2 regular agenda items that will take probably 5 minutes. So I was being considerate. So thank you, Jerry, for giving me permission to talk after everybody else did. So I would suggest that, Joanne, we reach out to, and who's the state rep for this area?
Mick, I got
You're talking about Bill Allen?
I can't
You're talking about Bill Allen? No, it's not Bill?
No.
Oh, Mark.
Mark McGraw.
I'm sorry, yes.
So Joanne, he's a member of your party, the
Yep.
Republican Party. I would recommend that you contact him.
I have an appointment with him.
Okay, and Curtis Gregory, and get that set up, because there's nothing this commission can do.
No, you're right.
And somebody said that Joanne was the only one that had met with you guys. I just want to say, some of you guys have reached out to me And the only time that you guys have given me is I see you shaking your head no. And
Hold on a
the
second.
only time that was
Hold on.
given to me was 5
Commissioner
p.m. on-
Withington, Commissioner Withington has the floor. Please do not interrupt him. Commissioner, you proceed.
The only time that was given to me was 5 p.m. on a Saturday night. So I have 3 kids. Summertime is very hard for me. I have kids that need to be everywhere. The last time somebody contacted me, I said, can you give me an alternative time? Nobody has given me an alternative time. So if you guys want to reach out to me with an alternative time other than a 5 p.m. on a Saturday, I would love to meet with you guys. And I just want, I want you guys to know, I don't have a problem meeting with you. Somebody sent me an email saying, well, you met with the Ideckers. Joanne and I and Jay had set that up because we told you guys we would take a tour of the mine. But if you guys want me to meet with you, I will meet with you. I just, giving me a one time slot on a 5 p.m. on a Saturday is pretty difficult. So I appreciate you all coming out here tonight. And Joanne, if you can get those set up, because there's nothing this commission can do. We don't regulate mining and everything. So, all right, appreciate you guys for coming out tonight.
By the way, before I go to Commissioner Lawson, Mr. Counselor, I happen to agree with the last comments made by Commissioner Withington as far as the length of our authority. Is that the way you understand the law to read?
Yeah, the county commission's authority over the regulation of a mining operation is extremely limited. As the attorney has pointed out, there are local considerations, which would be the city. There are state considerations, which would be the state of Missouri, of course, and there are federal regulations and considerations. The county doesn't really factor into that. As Commissioner Lawson really, I think, smartly identified, going to Jeff City, trying to get our state representatives and our state senators involved in this is a big part of what you can do. Doesn't really take action from the commission. There's no ordinance you can enforce to shut down Idecker at this point, and that is something that, as a personal aside, I hope the citizens that are here understand that the county commission has been extraordinarily willing to listen to them with the understanding that they're extraordinarily limited in what they can do for them. And that's a really tough place for the commission to be in. So I'll stop editorializing at that point.
And that is a concern I have. I wanted to make sure that point was made clear about what can and cannot be expected from this commission as far as our ability to act on that, so that there are no misconceptions and that there are no expectations that we cannot fulfill. I'd like to go to Commissioner Lawson to wind up. Commissioner Johnson has chimed in. Commissioner Lawson, if I could go to Commissioner Johnson first and come back to you, is that acceptable?
I'll just say a couple things.
All right,
I'll
come back to you then. Hold on, you're on, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, number one, I know that they have talked about all of the inspections that have been done, but the funny thing is, at the 210 query, and I wasn't in office at that time, but my husband was, and at the 210, they were advised that there had been inspections done, but they were 3 miles farther than they should have been. Now, what the heck happened with that inspection? And I think about, you can't be sure about these inspections, because I think about a lady, now this is way off the subject in a way, but the woman lived out in Ohio somewhere. She ended up stealing $50 million from the city. And every year they did a state audit. Guy came in, did his audit, did all that stuff, never found the error. So, while I want to give credit to all of our government entities, I think that it's not always as it seems, and I think that there should be a little bit more investigation. But other than that, I'm done. But I'm going to say this, Commissioner. Since when have we, and I think we're all pretty well done talking, but bottom line is, When have we ever been advised that we have had, unless it's in state statute, that we have a 1-hour limit on something like this? I can remember with the 190, we must have gone on I felt like all night. And we had millions of people in this place. You couldn't have got another person in here. We went on for a very long while before that was settled. These people on both sides of the aisle deserve all the respect they can get. And if they wish to talk until midnight, they ought to be able to do it. We're here one lousy day a week. That's it. Now, you know, some of us are in here more often for different things, and we're out at meetings all the time. But here, doing the county business, we're here one day a week. So if it takes more than an hour, well, I'd like to see it. Let's go home and have dinner and have a drink. Okay, that's great. But first, we take care of our citizens. And I cannot believe we have a time limit.
Commissioner.
You shut up. You can't talk anymore. I'm sorry. That's all I got to say.
No, Commissioner, first off, I don't think I've shut any citizens down. Secondarily, I said we're coming up an hour. We need to start thinking about how we can round this off because we've already spent a couple of hours on it. While it's important and we want to give citizens as much time as possible, we cannot spend endless time on one subject because we do have other things. Commissioner Johnson, I apologize that we kind of left you hanging there. You've been patient. If you would please proceed.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a quick question for IDEC, our representative. Is there an estimate on how long the explosions are going to go on for? Can you turn on the green the microphone?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you for noticing that.
Am I on now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you how long it'll go on, till the reserves are exhausted.
No estimate?
No, sir.
Could you say months, years?
No, it'll be years.
Years?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. With that, excuse me. With that, we will consider, okay. At some point, please, we do need to. No, don't be sorry, but the thing is, we do have. Oh, excuse me, your light needs to be on. There's a button at the base of your microphone.
You got to understand where we're at. There was comment that there had been no objections to what they were doing, that they had no complaints for years after they started mining. When the mine first came into our area, it was proposed to us that it was going to be a 7-year plan for surface mining. 7 years came and went. After 7 years, they were supposed to fill it in and make it beautiful again. That didn't happen. So now you have to understand why we are all reluctant to believe anything that they put out. We just don't believe them. It's straight up. You know, they're in it for their business. They're in it to make the money. And they've got the state backing them up because that's who they're supplying. We're at a loss. We're fighting Goliath.
Thank you. With that, we will conclude our excuse me, sir?
I just want to make sure that it sounded to me a minute ago as though this commission was minimized because you didn't have the juice card in order to enforce anything. Okay, but here's what you do have. You have constituents, and you have a voice, and you have media, and you have the ability to talk about what's being said. You don't have to take a political position left or right of it, but you absolutely have the right to voice it and to demand answers from those agencies that do have accountability. You do have the right to ask publicly, Mosby, what are you doing about the oversight plan? Joanne's seen that plan. What are you doing about making it happen? You do have the right to ask the state, what are you doing about it? How often have you been there and is it right? You have those rights. Don't minimize your ability to do anything. You have a voice. Please use it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That concludes our discussion items. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Min. Oh, I am sorry. We do have yet another discussion. I apologize. Victor, there he is. Thank you, Commissioner Wagner. That brings us to our next discussion item. Nearly forgot about you, sir. Mr. Administrator, please go forward with that.
Good. We have discussion item with 2024 fiscal year annual audit presentation with Auditor Victor. Here we are.
Thank you very much. Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. This evening wanted to present our annual audit of our 2024 financial statements. With me tonight, I have Hood & Associates. They are our independent external auditor, Hood & Associates CPAs. I have the Senior Auditor, Michael Keenan, and also with us we have Audit Manager, Warren Herrick, here with us tonight. And so what we're going to do briefly is we're going to have Michael go over the independent audit report. And then after that, I'm going to briefly present to you our popular annual financial report. And those are all at your desk. So with that, I'll bring up Mr. Keenan.
Thank you, Victor. So to move this, I just push this button. There we go. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Michael Keenan. I'm with Hood & Associates here to present the results of the financial and compliance audit for the fiscal year ended December 31, 2024. Again, so for some bad auditing humor, we're not located in Ohio.
By the way, before you begin, I hope that the remaining commissioners will stay here. We do need to maintain a quorum, and we've had a couple of commissioners leave, so please do not leave unless someone else comes in so that we can maintain our quorum and continue our meeting. Proceed.
Thank you. And again, I believe you've been provided 3 documents in PDF form, and now you have bound copies: the annual comprehensive financial report, the single audit, which is the report on your federal expenditures, and also the required communications. And again, I'll go through a PowerPoint that will cover the results of that audit. Again, a little bit about Hood & Associates. We serve Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We go through what's called a peer review when an outside independent auditing firm will come in and review our quality control standards. And we have been awarded the highest rating as a result of that review. And we're members of various professional organizations, mostly the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, which dictate what we, as well as other independent auditors, do for external audits. Again, the scope of the audit was the annual comprehensive financial statements, as well as the single audit of compliance of the county's expenditures of federal awards. We had one major program, and that was the ARPA funding. And it should be noted that the county has about 13.6 amount of ARPA funds still remaining to be spent in the next couple fiscal years. Management's responsibilities include the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This includes the design, maintenance of internal controls relevant to the preparation of financial statements that are free of material misstatement, whether caused by fraud or error. Management is responsible for ensuring that the financial information is both reliable and properly reported, as well as implementing systems designed to achieve compliance with finance-related laws and regulation, contracts, and grant agreements, as well as the selection of accounting principles for the preparation of financial statements and the schedule of federal expenditures that accompanying information that are in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles in the United States of America. The auditor's responsibility for what we are required to do is conduct our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, as well as standards applicable to the financial statements related to governmental auditing standards that are issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, as well as the uniform guidance, which dictates what external auditors do as related to expenditures of federal awards. We're also responsible to plan and perform our audit to obtain reasonable assurance whether the financial statements are free of material misstatements. Again, reasonable assurance is a high level assurance, but is not absolute assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Again, what that means is we take a risk-based approach. We do selected transaction testing, but we do not test all transactions, so we cannot provide absolute assurance on the financial statements. We're also responsible to report on internal controls over financial reporting, as well as compliance with laws and regulations. The Auditing Standards Board of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, recommended we communicate these matters to the governing board. Illegal acts, none came to our attention as a result of us performing our audit procedures. Changes in significant accounting policies, there were no changes during the year ended 2024. Pleased to report we had no difficulties or disagreements with management, and we had full cooperation and access to all the books and records. A financial and compliant audit really addresses these next three questions. Are the financial statements free of material misstatement? Our response to that is we have issued an unmodified opinion that indeed the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. Sometimes that's kind of referred to as a clean opinion. That's the highest level of opinion that external auditors can provide for financial statements. The second question is, are the internal controls over financial reporting adequately designed and operating effectively? Our response to that question is we did not identify any deficiencies in internal controls that we consider to be a material weakness. Again, had we done so, we are required by our profession to report those matters to the governing body. And finally, did the county comply in all material respects with finance-related laws and regulations? Again, no noncompliance was noted with finance regulations that govern the county's operations. And in our required communications and management letter, we have suggestions for best practices of possible improvements in internal control. We had three identified, which management has responded. The first one relates to financial policy and procedures review, and our recommendation is that you consider performing of policies and procedures through in conjunction with the implementing of your new accounting system, and management has responded of what they plan on doing and some of the new improved procedures and recommendations that will come out of your new accounting system. The second one is cybersecurity. That's a relevant topic for everyone, including governmental entities. Again, I know of three local in the region, the governments that have a breach. So it's certainly something that the county is aware of, and to be vigilant about those policies and procedures and the training associated with that. The final one is future accounting pronouncers. There's three new ones at this point that are coming, but I don't see any of those three are going to have a significant impact on the county's financial reporting. And lastly, certainly Hood and Associates certainly appreciates the opportunity to serve as the auditors for Clay County. Thank you for the commission, as well as Victor and his staff, very professional, and provided us the information that we needed to complete our engagement. So couldn't do it without him and his staff. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to try to respond to any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions from any of the members of the commission? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And if you have questions at some other point, certainly you can get my contact information and be more than happy to try to answer those questions. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, I'll pull up another presentation here for the popular annual financial report. a second. All right, here we go. Good evening, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. And so after that report, I wanted to briefly give you the 2024 Popular Annual Financial Report. So as a reminder, this is more of a high-level overview, so it's going to be a summary information of the more thorough financial statements in the annual comprehensive financial report that's at your desk and that you have received electronically as well. This is the second PAFR we've created. We looked at potentially changing the name. We're always thinking about, can we continue to improve this report? In our second year, we really kept things mostly the same, but we are looking at especially the title. Could this be the Citizens Guide to County Finances, et cetera? But Popular Annual Financial Report, it's pretty intuitive, makes you understand what it's about, even if it's maybe not so popular, or maybe it is. We'll see. But with that, you can see kind of the roadmap of where we're going to go briefly. The idea of a Popular Annual Financial Report is it shows you where's the money come from, where's it go, and what's the bottom line for the county? What is the financial condition of the county? And so that's what we're going to briefly talk about. Again, it's supposed to be a communication tool to the board and citizens so that they can monitor and track what's happening with their taxpayer dollars. I do want to note that at the bottom of this report, which is going to be available online, you'll have links to our annual comprehensive financial report, as well as this report and our budgets, all the financial information you'd want about the county. This little letter here just talks about the reason why we're doing this. We're trying to reach the highest national standards of financial reporting and just continue to excel here at Clay County. Again, I just want to remind that we've received the budget award since 2022. And now we're seeking the award for the Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting, and as well as the PAFR award. The three combined make up the Triple Crown. We haven't received those two pieces yet, but we're striving for it, and we're going to keep trying. There's only one county in the state of Missouri that gets the Triple Crown, that's St. Louis County. Some other counties do get the COA alone, a handful, and as well as the PAFR, but only one gets the Triple Crown. So that's kind of really where we want Clay County to be. So just give briefly some context, demographics. I can show you right away. Look at this map. Does this map look familiar? This map, I noticed, was on a picture on the last slide of the presentation for the Parks Comprehensive Plan. So this report is popular. Someone found this graphic that my staff made and put it on their slide. So it just shows you that, this is something that can be used as for external stakeholders, this PAFR report.
Mr. Auditor, might I say that it is the sincerest form of flattery?
Absolutely, we'll take it. So Clay County, fifth largest county in the state of Missouri, behind the city of St. Louis and four other counties, well, six if you include the city of St. Louis. Our population, 263,370 residents. You can see the distribution by age there. So we're a growing county, third fastest growing county as of the 2020 census. That can change as they take the census throughout the years. You can also look at some, really this is something that you can look at externally when we share. Look at the top left section about taxable sales. So roughly $5 billion of taxable retail sales in Clay County. You can look at our top 5 categories there. Retail trade is number one, close to $3 billion of our total $5 billion is from retail trade alone, or 60%. The next being accommodation food service, so think restaurants, hotels, casinos. Then you got wholesale trade, manufacturing, and utilities make up some of those top 5 categories. When you combine use tax revenues as well, we get up to about $6.5 billion of taxable sales. These are figures from the Missouri Department of Revenue. Unemployment, it is historically the case and continues to be so that Clay County is always a little bit better in terms of unemployment than the state and the nation. We ended 2024 about 2.8%, and better than the state and the nation. However, to date, currently, we're about a percent higher, 3.9%, which has tracked both the state and the nation. We can look at housing and home ownership in Clay County. It has improved a little bit since 2023. When we were 60% ownership, now we're 69% ownership versus rental. The median income has increased about $4,000 since last year. And you can see the average home value is close to $250,000, also an increase from last year's $237,000. So you can see those statistics from our budget book that we excel in the state average in those categories. And you can see, again, in our organization chart, and we have roughly 550 employees. That's the figure of employees on payroll. We actually have about 50 vacancies. It fluctuates, but close to 600 total budgeted positions. Okay, so that's the context. Now we get into the more financial matter. Where does the money come from? We did have an increase in revenues over 2023 to about $112 million in the fund financial statements over the 2023 figure of $105 million. Most of that increase, or 60% of it, can be attributed to our taxes, followed by fines and fees, had growth, and grants. It's interesting to note here that we had roughly over $3 million of investment revenues last year. That was $1 million higher than 2023. And that can be really tied back to we have higher cash balances and we had higher interest rates. So the Treasurer's Department does a good job managing and investing cash that's not needed currently. And so that's become, while not a significant revenue source, an important one to the county. Moving on, however, again, I always want to point out that most of the revenues in Clay County for those taxes are not from property taxes. As we know, in that dollar chart, only about 1.5% we can see of $585 million collected in property taxes is actually stays with Clay County government. The rest is on behalf of other local taxing jurisdictions. That was roughly a 3.9% increase from 2023 property tax collections of $563 million. And the State Tax Commission allowance on that was 3.4%, so that's pretty close. Tells you that there's some back taxes in there, some new construction. And you can see our assessment valuation in 2024 was $6.7 billion versus 23, $6.6 billion because it was not a reassessment year. Currently, we're going to see very soon what the figures, the early print will be for the reassessment in 25. It's currently $7.3 billion, but I think when we finalize that, it could be potentially higher with that reassessment. So where do a lot of our revenues come from then on the tax side? It's from, of course, sales and use tax revenues. But even here still, I like to point out the various municipal rates. So we only have a 7/8 of a cent sales tax, or 0.875%, where most of our municipalities average about 3%. The state of Missouri's rate is 4.225%. So even there, all in, you're looking at roughly less than 10% of your sales tax bill is actually funding county government sources. You can see here too how we allocate those monies between sales and use tax across various funds. Next, I just want to talk about sales and use tax revenue specifically as well. You can see that it is roughly 86% of our total tax revenues. It did increase from 2023 about 3.7%. And you'll note the large increase over the past decade in the tax categories, especially the 911 tax, of course, because we just got past the subscriber revenue that started coming in 2024, a 528% increase over the last decade. Property tax revenues actually decreased in that same time when we go back 10 years by 7% for Clay County.
Mr. Auditor, we have a question. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah.
Just one slide back. On the right side there, it says 2024 sales and use taxes.
Yep.
Law enforcement fund, $14 million.
Yes.
So law enforcement fund, that's the 1/8 cent sales tax?
It is, yep.
Now, do we collect a 1/8 cent sales tax for law enforcement off both retail and use sales tax?
So this figure represents the actual 1/8 cent law enforcement sales tax fund only generates about $6 million a year. But the county general fund does make allocations, regular allocations of general sales taxes to the law enforcement tax fund to basically fund operations, along with transfers in addition to that allocation. So that's how that number is compiled there for the.
So I guess my real question is, if the taxpayers pass a 1/8 cent sales tax for law enforcement, and that sales tax automatically also gets attached to use tax.
Yes.
But we don't separate that out, do we? We don't pull that out of use tax, do we?
So you get the same use tax at the exact rate as the sales tax.
Right.
And so we are able to track the type of tax and, the corresponding amounts for it.
Okay, let me give you a hypothetical. If I went and bought a sweatshirt at the store.
Okay.
And paid retail tax on that, 1/8 of that tax goes to law enforcement.
Yes.
If I buy that same sweatshirt on Amazon, I'll still pay the same amount of taxes, but 1/8 of that will not go to law enforcement, will it?
Well, so you bring up a good point. Currently, what the county has done with its use tax allocation, so you still pay the 1/8 cent for the law enforcement sales tax because it's a use tax.
Right.
But because it's a use tax, as less restrictions. So the ballot question, when that went to the ballot, basically did not have that restriction. And so historically, the county used to split that 3 ways between various capital funds. But in recent years, so beginning in this year, actually 2025, we started allocating use tax to the general fund. And even before then, we changed the formula of a third to fund different priorities. So more to the road and bridge use tax, more to the capital projects use tax than the parks use tax fund. Yeah. But again, it's general revenues, so it can be used in that manner. Okay. So what the county now does is we actually have, I believe is of roughly the 15 million we had budgeted in 25, we had 5 million to the general fund. And so a lot of that general fund money actually supports law enforcement. Right. By way of transfers. So yes and no. I would say it might not go directly to the law enforcement tax fund, but it does definitely support law enforcement.
Okay, I won't take up a whole lot of time with this, but I think for a future discussion, I want to discuss this more, use tax. I really got educated this when recently we saw the City of Liberty passed a public safety sales. Actually, it wasn't even public safety sales tax, because they're maxed out on that. So they passed a 1% general sales tax that they said was going to go to public safety. And I think most of the citizens, and apparently we did that as well for the countywide 1/8 cent sales tax long before my time. But I think most people that vote on that think, okay, everything I buy, that 1/8 cent is going to go to public safety, or it's going to go to public safety. And it doesn't. And particularly now that we see, it doesn't when you buy something online. And particularly now that you see online taxes and use tax. That's what use tax is. When you buy something online, we call it use tax. And so what we're seeing more and more is more and more people buying online. Which means, hey, if we said I want 1/8 cents to go to public safety, less and less of that is going to public safety because I'm buying more of my stuff online, and more of it, I'm still paying the 1/8 cents, but it's going back to now the government for them to decide how they want to spend it and not being directed like I want it to my public safety. So that's just a discussion I think we need to have in the future, kind of a policy discussion maybe on how we want to attach that. My own preference is, hey, if people say we want money to go to certain, whether it's public safety or to mental health or whatever it is, that we don't differentiate between retail and use tax because the public doesn't know that. I don't think they understand that. So that's my soapbox for now, but I don't think you need to comment on that, but that may be coming up in the future.
My thought, and I appreciate the comment absolutely, Commissioner, is just the thought that, yes, it's certainly true the case that we're seeing disproportionate growth in online use taxes versus retail. In 2024, use taxes were up, for example, 20% compared to 23, whereas retail sales taxes were up 4.9%. Right. So you can see the mismatch. Right. Now, roughly 25% of our total sales tax mix is now from use tax. And so that's why we made the decision for the budget to allocate more towards general fund. Yeah. And, we're at a mix now of essentially a third of our use taxes going to general fund, which is essentially supporting law enforcement. And in fact, later in this presentation, we'll get a little bit more into that. So, but no, I appreciate the comments, and I think we'll definitely take that into consideration.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions, so please proceed.
So now we are on the expenditure side, and we do note that public safety, judicial, the financial reporting category is the largest category of the county's expenditures at about 35.8% or 39.6 million out of 2024's total 110 million. So this was an increase from last year's $98.7 million. Not all of that is just from increases in expenditures. A lot of it is fluctuations from the American Rescue Plan Act grant. In fact, about 9 million of that. So as the money gets spent down, that can really cause some ebbs and flows and aberrations in our financial reporting. But we did have increased expenditures, of course, from last year. The second main category is general government, 29.6%. And then third, the highways and traffic function, mainly our road and bridge department, 13.6%. Long-term debt, again, it's a good story to show that our debt is declining about $2.5 million a year. We are now down to $18 million of long-term debt. So this only includes our Army Corps lake lease, our 2021 certificates of participation, and we actually had expirations of our Public Building Authority revenue bonds, the 2004-2014 series, in 2025. This does not include total liabilities. You can see in our ACFR in Note 7, we're actually more closer at $44 million total debt when you include things like pensions, right-to-use leases, capital leases, and compensated absences, things of that sort. But the long-term debt, our bonded indebtedness, is decreasing, and so by 2031, we'll have none. So where does that leave us? We've talked about revenues, expenditures. Let's talk about fund balances. I only have a couple more slides. County's fund balance at the end of 2024 was $60.6 million. And so, you know, when we looked at the expenditures I just mentioned, $110 million, that's about 54.7% of those expenditures. So about half of your expenditures are represented in fund balance. However, the caution there is that not all of that is unrestricted or unassigned money. Most of that is flexible is in the general fund. $30.3 million, the combined general fund for financial reporting purposes had $30.3 million of fund balance. That's 78.8% of 2024 expenditures, which were $38.4 million. The Road and Bridge Fund had a fund balance that's about a third of its expenditures in 2024, had a surplus as well. I'll note back to the general fund category too, it had a surplus of $9 million, but after those transfers, like we previously discussed, it only had a $0.8 million surplus. The Law Enforcement Tax Fund had a $2.7 million ending fund balance. That was about 9.6% of its expenditures of $28 million. Parks Fund had a $3.9 million fund balance, or about half of its 2024 expenditures. And the ARPA Fund, $1.4 million fund balance. What that means is it's revenue that's been earned from interest. It's not the remaining grant that we have to expend. So I just make that note there. And so finally, net position, also a decent story to tell. This is the highest net position that the county's ever had from the records that I can find, at $146.9 million compared to $131 million from last year. Not all of that's readily liquid. 62.9% of it is locked up in capital assets that we book at the amount that we bought it for. But then this is the net depreciation currently, its value, and 16.7% of it of net position is unrestricted, however. So it's interesting to think of that. It's close to our operating budget amount of net position, but again, not all of it is readily liquid. It's not all the fund balance and then also unrestricted cash. So anyway, I present this report again just to give Citizens Commission a good understanding of county's financial position, know where their taxpayer dollars are going. It's available online. I'm happy to answer any questions. I do definitely want to thank my team, the hard work, months that they put into this, and Hood & Associates. We have a good relationship working with them and have helped us, given us advice to make a lot of improvements along the way. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? Commissioner Johnson.
No questions. I just want to say congratulations on both the great audit that we saw. I mean, audit presentations are nothing but riveting as far as I'm concerned. We need to do that more often. Should have done that before IDECA. We could have cleared this place out sooner, but anyways, I just want to say congratulations, and I appreciate the job that you and your staff do in the auditor's office. It's just tremendous. I tell you what, I think you said St. Louis has the trifecta there. They got nothing on us. Absolutely nothing on Clay County, I'll tell you that. But I just appreciate what you and your folks do and just say thank you.
Commissioner Lawson.
Just want to say what a great job. And the great thing about the reports that you give us is that I understand them. And I am not a financial wizard. So I appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate the very professional way you run your office. Your staff is wonderful. Really appreciate you a lot. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Auditor. As always, a great report. Thank you, Michael, for your report as well. It does give us an opportunity to really get a good, clear overlook at the committee, the financial position of the county. With that, Mr. Administrator, we'll go to consent agenda.
Yes, this evening we have several items on the consent agenda. I'll go through those pretty quickly. The other one is commission. The first one is commission meeting minutes, August 7th through August 14th of 2025. 2025-255, approval of invoice payments for Clay County for the period of August 16th to August 22nd. We have 327 invoices totaling $1,191,084.27. The next one is you have 2025 ordinance-16 is established a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and sustainable interests of certain officials. Signed by the commission is a routine item, but has to be approved by the consent agenda. The other one is 2025-246, approval of grant 2025-2026, which the next 6 items will all be grants done by between the Missouri Department of Transportation, Highway and Safety Traffic Division, and our Sheriff Department. It's a dedicated hazardous moving violation enforcement. This one here is a county match of a 50-50 grant. The total amount is $157,000, which is $78,500 from our side. The next one is 2025-247 is approval of the same grant acceptance, dedicated and impaired driving enforcement, and it's also a 50-50 match between the county and the Missouri Department of Transportation, Highway Safety and Traffic Division. The next one is 2025-248, grant acceptance of the Department of Transportation. This one here is a no county match, which is for distracted driving enforcement grant. Next one is 2025-249, is another Missouri Department of Transportation Highway grant. This one is for hazardous moving violations enforcement. Again, this is a no county match grant. The other one is 2025-250, is another grant acceptance, and this one is for impaired driving enforcement, and it's no county match to that one. The other one is 2025-251, same with the Missouri Department of Transportation, Highway Safety and Traffic Division, youth alcohol enforcement, again a no county match. The next one is 2025-253, is approval of rescinding resolution regarding cleanup clerical area with the airport. It's with our FB. You have the information within your package there, and that's the end of the consent agenda items.
Is there a motion, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, actually, before I make the motion, I have a quick question. No need to pull it from the consent agenda, but for our county administrator. On 2025 ordinance 16, there's no changes, right? That's the current ordinance, and we're just re-upping it again, right?
Yes.
Okay. With that in mind, I move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
First item on that regular agenda is 2025-256. Administrator?
Yes, 2025-256, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office for the period of August 16th through August 22nd. We have 3 invoices totaling $2,191.10.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-256.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-256. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Agenda is 2025-252. Administrator? Mr. Administrator?
Understanding for mental health services between Clay County Sheriff's Office and Rachel L. Willoughby Green, licensed professional. We have with our Sheriff Department, Captain Amy. All right. That would help expand on that resolution.
Please proceed.
Good evening, Commissioners. Captain Amy Agdarian, Clay County Sheriff's Office. In the interest of time tonight, I know you guys have had a long meeting. I'm going to give you a very brief description of this MOU, and I'm happy to answer whatever questions that you have. Just in short, revised statutes of Missouri in RSMO 590.192 in 2021 established the Critical Incident Stress Management Program, and this allowed for all peace officers and first responders in the state of Missouri to be required to meet with a mental health professional or a program service provider once every 3 to 5 years. We are finally at a point now where we can bring this MOU to you and say, we are ready to proceed with this service provider. Rachel Willoughby Green is a culturally competent program service provider. Her husband is a firefighter in the Kansas City area, and she is uniquely qualified to understand the needs of first responders and law enforcement officers. She has been working with the Sheriff's Office for our initial psychiatric consultations when we do new hires. She has been working with us for the implementation of our sabbatical program, which is the first of its kind for a sheriff's office in the state of Missouri. No one else is doing this program yet, so we are really excited about it. We've had a lot of people take us up on it, and next year we are looking at about 26 people who are eligible. So Rachel is going to be the person that we go to for the sabbatical consults, and we are now asking for your approval of this MOU so that we can work with her to meet the RSMO statute for mental health care for our law enforcement officers.
Thank you. I was actually at a meeting earlier today of the Northland Regional Chamber Planning and Development Committee. The speaker was, I think, somebody that is not a stranger to a lot of us here, and that is Major Justin Cobalt. You know him. One of the subjects that came up, and he was giving us a discussion on how crime is, the state of crime here in Clay County and in the Northland in general. One of the issues that came up was the importance of the mental health of those, in this particular case, law enforcement officers. And so this is very timely, and I certainly appreciate that this is being brought forward and that we are, the thing is, it's important that we pay our deputies and our law enforcement folks a decent salary. It's important that we give them the equipment and training, but it is also very important that we are mindful of the stresses that they are under and how we can make sure that we are of assistance to them on that. So just as a general kind of overall thing, I certainly appreciate where you're going with this. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-252.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-252. Discussion. Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
And that concludes our regular agenda. Next are reports. We have one, Mr. Administrator.
Yes, we have one report tonight. Gladstone Special Road District Number 3, annual settlement from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th of 2025. You have that report within your packet. If you have any questions, myself and our auditor, Victor, is available.
Very good. That brings us to comments. Administrator, do you have any comments that you'd like to make at this time?
No, wish everyone a happy Labor Day. That'd be it. And next week will be Red Friday.
Very good. Commissioner Withington, if you would like to start off with Commissioner comments. There you go.
Yeah, thanks. I see Brian and Bridget back there. Congratulations, guys. Big groundbreaking this week. Congratulations. Also want to give a shout out to Port KC. They announced a huge $100 billion project for the Northland. John and I have talked about this quite a bit the last day or so, but just so you guys understand, this is the largest data center project in human history, and it's the third largest civil CapEx project behind the International Space Station, and I can't remember what the other one was, but this is one of the biggest projects in human history, and it's going to be right here in the Northland, and it's $100 billion. So,
Commissioner Lawson.
Yeah, I saw that. That's phenomenal. Where's it going to be? Oh, okay, okay. Wanted to say that, offer prayers for the shooting that occurred at the Catholic Church a couple days ago. I mean, how devastating, children. So it makes you appreciate your law enforcement just a little bit more. I also want to give a major shout out to Bridget. What a great groundbreaking. That was one of the best events I went to. Everybody that spoke was funny as heck and gave you just a real boost on what this was going to do for the kids that came to that facility. And it's a place whose time has come. Every kid can't afford to go to college, nor do they want to go to college. But this gives all of our kids a chance. It was really rewarding. I was so glad we were a part of it. And Bridget, I want to thank you so much for recognizing Clay County. Sometimes we get overlooked. So I was glad that we were a part of the ceremony. I appreciate it a lot.
Commissioner Wagner. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, just real quickly, I too want to congratulate you on that groundbreaking. I intended to be there actually, but I got called away in a minute at the last meeting, so I couldn't be there. But congratulations, that's going to be something pretty special, I think, for the entire area, the entire region. But thank you.
Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Carpenter.
Thank you. Yeah. So, as our auditor pointed out, we got a lot of growth happening up in the Northland. There've been a lot of groundbreakings in the last week. Congratulate Brian as well on the Career Center. We got the Trap Shooters building back up, a good county asset. Pleased to attend that, as well as Synergy Services Saturday morning had a groundbreaking on their new facility. So real pleased to see all that growth. And so if you haven't had enough math yet, let me just speak to the issue Commissioner Withington mentioned with the $100 billion, they're calling it a data center, but it's really a hyperscale AI data center, which sort of is different than the cloud compute data centers that we've had in previous iterations. $100 billion is insane, and I'm not sure it's fully settled in on everybody just how big of a number that is. Brian, I think is the Career Center, which is this amazing facility. It's going to serve thousands of kids for years to come. An amazing accomplishment we should all be proud of. But I think it's something like 70 million in total, ballpark. So in $1 billion is 1,000 millions. Okay, so that's what a billion is. Not everybody always sort of relates. We hear these big numbers and it's like, what are these numbers? Well, So 100 billion is 100,000 millions. It's a really big number. 70 million is a big number. 100,000 million is unthinkably huge. To Commissioner Withington's point, third biggest project in human history by dollar amount, the biggest private sector expenditure at a single site in human history. So I don't know, I haven't seen the details. I don't know if this number is true. It is sort of interesting that Port KC is entrusted with, but that being said, God bless them, a $100 billion project is coming to KC North. I will say, while I'm thrilled, and I think I know they haven't released yet who the company is. There's not a lot of options when you're talking about that kind of a number. I think I know who it is, but I won't, speculate online. But I will say this: while I'm absolutely thrilled about it, and I look forward to that huge of a project coming, it won't all be positives. It's going to come with a tremendous amount of questions and challenges, including potentially to the electric grid. The amount of electricity being envisioned at a facility like this, and this is speculative because they haven't put out the numbers yet, but as best I can tell, we're talking about, at the low end, something like 750,000 homes worth of power. So that's about 5 times the number of homes that are in Clay County at this one site. So it's a lot. And that's at the low end. It could be significantly more than that. Talking gigawatts, which is 1 billion watts per gigawatt. It's a lot of power. So I think everybody needs to be, looking at it and asking questions and, yes, potentially celebrating it. I think I'm going to celebrate it, probably. But again, the details are not all out yet. But it is the biggest private sector project in the history of the world, should it come to fruition north of KCI. So I celebrate everybody who helped make that happen, but also I think we'll have to stay on top of the ball on that one to make sure that it gets rolled out in a way that is good for those of us who live in North KC. Thanks.
Commissioner?
Seems
Commissioner
life
Nolte?
is always, yes, Mr. Administrator.
I'm remiss. I just want to get a shout out to and recognize our Board of Equalization. First of all, the board itself. I think you recognized them a little while ago, Commissioner Lawson, but I also want to recognize our staff, Stacy, our county clerk, along with Wendy, along with our assessor's office. They initially, I bet the month of August went by very fast for them, but not fast enough. But it did come to this end, and it was over 300 cases. Close to 300 cases. This week it came to the end, and so for them to do that in a professional format, it was the first time I got to see it. I thought they did a great job, and if you got to see a few of those cases, it's some real live TV when you get a chance. So I just want to recognize them and the assessor office with Tracy, their staff, and what they did with that.
Thank you. That's a very well-made comment. Life is up and down. I don't think there's any way around it. Anybody who's been alive for any amount of time understands that life is full of ups and downs, and no more so than this week. We had tremendous highs with the Workforce Development Center carrying dirt. And I also want to make sure that the credit goes to NEBA over at the Clay County EDC. That is the Northland Education Business Alliance. Those are the kind of organizations that really move the needle. One of the other things that, and I attended this earlier today, was the ribbon cutting for the University of Kansas Cancer Center over at Briar Cliff in partnership with with Liberty Hospital. That is a great state-of-the-art center where our fellow citizens, our fellow human beings can go if they have the need to take chemotherapy and other types of therapy to deal with something as horrific as cancer. They will be fully operational, I believe, by January, but they are in operation now. So we have a lot of great things happening. By contrast, Commissioner Lawson made mention of the horrific events in Minnesota. We have a lot of other things, the unfortunate accident at our airport. I guess it's rather an extreme week, a week of extremes, ups and downs. And I think the only thing that makes sense when it comes to those kinds of ups and downs is this weekend, as we spend time with our families, as we have the long weekend. What is important is the time that we spend with our friends and family and how we cling to one another. That's the only thing that keeps our heads screwed on straight, keeps us sane in a world of highs and lows. And so I would certainly encourage everyone to take the opportunity that they can to spend that time with family, with friends, and keep grounded on what is important. These are wonderful things that are happening, and these are horrific things that are happening. But the only thing that makes sense of it is how we are relating to one another. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.